Good day, everyone. We are the Group 8 reporters.
I'm Mary Joy Alterado, the first reporters.
I'm Jonabel August Wagwag, second reporter.
And I'm Robina Imsagisa, the third and last reporter. Our report was all about the Philippine government and the Philippine Constitution. Topics to be tackled was all about government and governance, functions of the government, Constitution of the Philippines, branches of the government, checks and balance principle, Aristotle's forms of government.
Two different terms in political science. Government is a group of people who rule or run the administration of a country. It's the body of representatives that governs and controls the state at a given time. Comes from the Greek word kybernan, which means to control, to steer. Government, often called as the working arm of the state. Governance is the exercise of power, authority by political leader for the well-being of their country's citizens or subject. It refers to the manner of steering or governing and or directing and controlling a group of people or state. Two functions of governance: constituent function and ministrant function. Two functions of the government. Constituent function are those which constitute the very bonds of society and are compulsory in nature. Example, keeping of order and providing for the protection of persons and property, and the fixing of the legal relations between man and wife. Number two, ministrant function are those that are undertaken only by way of advancing the general interest of society and other merely optional. Example, public works, public education, public charity, health and safety regulations, and regulations of trade and industry.
Definition of Constitution. Constitution is the fundamental law of the state. It is a body of rules, principles that prescribes the structure and powers of the government and protect basic rights and freedoms. The Constitution yields three primary purposes. First, serves as the fundamental law. This implies the supremacy of the Constitution. No other law is above the Constitution, and it serves as the basis of legality of all processes of the government. Second, establishes framework of the government. The Constitution prescribes the basic structure of the government, distributes governmental power and function into depth. Branches provides principles to prevent the abuse of authority. 3. Determines rights and duties of the citizen. The Constitution establishes basic rights and freedom and determines safeguards that will prevent the abuse of such liberties. Constitution of the Philippines. First, the 1899 Malolos Constitution, Aguinaldoan, the First Republic. Second, the 1935 Constitution, Commonwealth, and the Third Republic. Third, the 1943 Constitution, Japanese-sponsored Republic. 4. 1973 Constitution, Marcos Martirlo, and the Fourth Republic. 5. The 1986 Freedom Constitution, Transitional Constitution. The 1987 Constitutional, Aquino Democracy, and the Fifth Republic. Branches of the Philippines government. First, legislative branch. Legislative under the bicameral system. The House of Congress is composed of upper house senators, lower house, House of Representatives. Legislative branch, the formal lawmaking body of the government. The Legislator has a constitutional authority to pass law, which is also the power to repeat or change them. Power and duties of legislative branch. First, make laws. Second, alter or improve the laws. Third, improve or set forth taxes. Fourth, approve the national budget. Second, executive branch. Power and duties. Has control over all executive department various of an office. Appoint all members of her cabinet. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Special powers. Veto power, a power to approve or disapprove a proposed bill. Power of eminent domain, a power to take private property for public use. Power of appointment removal. Third, judiciary branch. Judiciary branch, the government body enforced to apply and interpret the laws. Hierarchy is a universal feature of judicial institution. All political systems have multiple levels of the judiciary, where some courts are explicitly subordinate to the others. Power and duties. Exercise original jurisdiction over cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls. Review, revise, reverse, modify, or affirm appeals. Final judgments, and order of the law court.
Checks and balance principle. The President of the Executive Branch is given the power to veto or reject a bill drafted by the Legislative Branch, especially if the President of the Executive Branch sees it as threatening to the society. The President can nominate candidates for Chief Justice. The Senate of the Legislative Branch can administer impeachment to the President for committing impeachable offenses such as treason or bribery. The Judicial Branch can declare unconstitutional any executive order by the President of the Executive Branch or law passed by the Legislative Branch if proven. Aristotle's forms of government. Aristotle, a Greek philosopher who considered as the father of political science. He is known to lay the foundations of political science because of his systematic treatment to the discipline. Aristotle's form of government number 1, monarchy, a government in which the power is vested in a single person or the monarch, who has divine and hereditary rights to rule as head of state. A. Absolute monarchy. The power of the monarch is boundless or not restricted by any law. Example, ancient Egypt, the pharaohs. Letter B. Constitutional monarchy. The power is limited because of the constitution or characters. Example, the Great Britain, which is Queen Elizabeth. Number 2. Aristocracy. A government in which power is vested in a class or persons who are believed to be superior and best qualified to rule, usually intellectuals. Aristocracy derives from the Greek word aristos or best and kratos or power. 3. Democracy. A government in which power is vested on the people, derives from the Greek word demos or people and kratos or power. When people form into disoriented and rebellions, transforms into mobocracy. Democracy. A direct democracy, the people directly participate in all government processes such as the creation of law and making decisions for the state. All assumes positions. Indirect democracy, also called as republicanism. The people give authority and power through election to representatives that will serve the interest of the state. It is used in the Philippines. According to the relationship of executive and legislative branch, presidential versus parliamentary. Presidential, a form of government that applies the doctrine of separation of powers. Parliamentary, a form of government that applies the fusion of powers in which the members of an executive branch are nominated to their positions by a legislative called parliament. According to distribution of powers, unitary versus federalism. Unitary, the government powers concentrated on the national budget, example USA. Federalism, the government powers are shared by the local government and the national government. Non-democratic government, authoritarian versus totalitarian. Authoritarian requires obedience to the government and limits dissent, minimizing political and personal liberties. Example, China. Totalitarian tries to control all aspects of private and public life. Example, North Korea. That's all. Thank you.